There's one question I've seen bouncing around the internet the past few weeks that I wanted to chat with you guys about today. And just a heads up, this video will contain spoilers for The Mandalorian, so look away now. Is Cal Kestis gonna make an appearance in The Mandalorian? When I first heard this, I thought, there's no way. Come on, Vader's gonna stab him before he gets a chance. Just gonna get absolutely wrecked in the sequel. But then I thought on it a little while, and it actually makes more sense than you might think. Oh, and Star Wars Theory made a video about this about a week ago and went into some of the theories surrounding this, but I thought maybe I could add something different. This video is an explanation of why Cal Kestis will be appearing in The Mandalorian. It's confirmed he's locked in. No, I'm just kidding. But it all comes back to Baby Yoda. Who was he calling out to on the rock on Tython? Ahsoka said that Baby Yoda would be able to call out to other surviving Jedi, who'd possibly be more suited to training him. Okay, so I guess the big question is, does Cal Kestis survive this far in the timeline? Does he make it out of these games alive? Or does Vader eventually do what he should have done in the first game? I mean, how did Cal even get out of here alive? Vader was toying with him, to be honest. Look at how many of these floor pieces he misses, just flying past him. He's teasing, he's just hanging back. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. Okay, so Jedi Fallen Order ends with Cal eventually retrieving the holocron with the locations for all Force-sensitive children in the galaxy, which he then destroys. What? As he says,
their destiny should be trusted to the Force.
Blah, 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 yada, yada. What a load of my goodness. So after Cal destroys this, his exact objective for the next game and his future is unclear. What's he going to get up to? We can only really make guesses at this point. I think it still seems likely he'll be looking to rebuild some sort of Jedi Order. This was his clear motive throughout Fallen Order's story. He wanted to preserve the good of the Jedi and come to terms with his past and his relationship with his master, Jaro Tapal. So if Cal is rebuilding the Jedi Order, seeking out Force sensitives without use of the holocron map, but instead using the Force to guide him, it feels likely that he could have heard Grogu's call. He will be the Jedi who comes to save Grogu. Another argument you can put forward is Cal's telekinesis power, how he's kind of bound to objects. He touches an object and senses an echo in the Force. Very few Jedi have this ability, and the fact he has it means he could somehow be in touch with this rock. I don't know. But then I had another thought. The Jedi aren't the only Force users in the galaxy. Who joins Cal aboard the Stinger Mantis? Merrin, the Night Sister from Dathomir. Night Sisters refer to the Force as magic, spelt with a CK, because, you know, it needs to be different. And the Night Sisters have a different way of wielding the Force. But what if both Cal and Merrin were to come to the rescue? Perhaps they go off and get married and, you know, teach each other different parts of the Force from each of their own religions, and then are just totally in touch with the universe. And that's why they hear Baby Yoda's call. Now, my other Jedi Fallen Order related theory has to do with the Zepho. They were that ancient civilization of Force users first seen in Jedi Fallen Order. All the temples and tombs you visit are ancient Zepho structures. We learn in Fallen Order that most of the Zepho seemingly went extinct due to corruption and a power-hungry leader, almost mirroring what happened to the Jedi, but the remaining Zepho revealed to Cal that they disappeared into the unknown regions to rebuild their civilization. Or not just the unknown regions, they kind of just say the unknown. It's all mysterious. And that's all we really know of them. But my theory is that by calling out through the Force at this Jedi temple, Grogu will not only be noticed by other surviving Jedi, but possibly anyone who understands the Force, or the Life Wind, as the Zepho call it. Perhaps a Zepho will show up at some point, hopefully in the Season 2 finale, and we'll get to learn more about this ancient species. I would love, come on, as if you wouldn't love one of these random Zepho to just come out and be like, hey, yep, I know how to use the Force as well. It's called the Life Wind. You've been calling it the Force the whole time. It's wrong. And I'm going to take the child, and that's it. Get over it. Just comes and takes him into the unknown. Okay, now, Lucasfilm don't really cross their video game characters with live action shows and films. They don't really appear in these. I mean, apart from playing as, say, Obi-Wan and Vader in games like Battlefront 2, video game specific characters like Cal Kestis, Starkiller, Kyle Katarn, Iden Versio don't appear in other larger media. I mean, there might be books and other things, but generally the films and TV shows not so much. But that could be all about to change. Even though Disney have had the Star Wars license for 8 years now, I think it is, Fallen Order is the first game to focus solely on storytelling and creating another full, complete story in this Star Wars universe. But there was also Battlefront 2 story mode that did this, and what just happened in Chapter 15 in The Mandalorian, they talked about Operation Cinder, the events you get to play through in Battlefront 2. Now, I thought this was a pretty big deal. Operation Cinder is a big deal following the events of Return of the Jedi and the start of the fall of the Empire. And yes, it has also been explored in other Star Wars books and media apart from Battlefront 2. So the fact they're bringing this into The Mandalorian and making reference to these events, I think it's pretty cool. Video games are having an actual impact, which leads me to believe they could be doing the same thing with Jedi Fallen Order, except this time in the form of an actual character. Bring Cameron Monaghan in. I mean, we all know the guy can act. He's in Shameless, he played the Joker, he's done a bunch of other stuff. They just need to make him look a bit older. Cameron in real life is 27 years old, and there's about 23 years between the events of Jedi Fallen Order and The Mandalorian, if I've done my calculations correctly. There's a high chance I got this wrong, but in Fallen Order, Cal is only supposed to be 17 years old, seems kind of young, so he'd be 40 years old in The Mando. Just make him grow a beard, give him some Obi-Wan kind of stuff, he'll look fine. Grow the mullet.
Is he wearing a big Jedi mullet? Yep. Top man.
Not only that, Jedi Fallen Order was one of the best-selling games of the past year. It's actually the second best-selling game in the US in the past 12 months, only behind Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So there's a lot of people, a lot of Star Wars fans who've played this game, who know who Cal is, and who are now watching The Mandalorian. So why not make him the one to train Baby Yoda? It makes sense. Now, we also don't know who saved Baby Yoda during Order 66. Cal couldn't have saved him, first because Cal was so young himself. He was only 12 at this point, but he was aboard the Venator over Braca when the Purge began, so he couldn't have been the one to save the child from the temple on Coruscant. But he could have definitely known Grogu. Perhaps they were even friends, both younglings at the same time. Grogu, I think, would have been in his 20s at this time. Grogu is now around 50, I think they say, but aging for this species seems to be very different to everyone else. So what I'm trying to say is the two could have definitely been training there at the same time at the temple on Coruscant. And if that's the case, then their old bond and friendship could be what leads Cal to Grogu. The fact they could definitely know each other. I mean, they both went through Order 66, and Ahsoka knows who Grogu is, so why would Cal not? It just seems likely. I will say, bringing Cal into The Mandalorian does kind of kill the mystery of Cal's fate. I mean, I was expecting him to die right here, but they're making a sequel. Great. I'm guessing they'll make 3 Jedi games. This is going to be a series. Jedi Fallen Order is the first one. The next one's going to be called Jedi something something, and Cal, I'm assuming, would die in the third one. Possibly anyway. But if he was to appear in The Mandalorian, knowing he's alive this far into the future and survives is something I'm not sure we'd want to know, or EA would want us to know if they want to sell more and more copies of Jedi games. That said, we don't know when the Jedi Fallen Order sequel is set. I mean, we're assuming it's going to be directly after the first game, but for all we know, they could jump a huge amount of time, and if there's going to be a third game, perhaps that could take place around the time of The Mandalorian. I mean, okay, let's just take a step back. Who are the other Jedi who'd show up to train Baby Yoda? Who else would he have called out to? Luke and Ezra, right? Okay, so what have they been up to? Luke's got his hands full with rebuilding his own Jedi Order, taking care of Ben Solo, who is alive by this point, he's been born, and Ezra's busy with Thrawn. And let's face it, Yaddle's probably either retired or dead by this point. It's Cal Kestis all the way, man. He's the most likely candidate and will appear in The Mandalorian. I'm telling you. You know what? I'll tell you what. If Cal doesn't show up, then I'll make at least one post a day on my Twitter account for a week talking about how much I love Jar Jar Binks. How does that sound? I'll post one Jar Jar appreciation post a day for a week every day. Let's do that. Perhaps Grogu called Darth Jar Jar and he's going to show up and turn Baby Yoda to the dark side. But what do you guys think? Who's going to answer Baby Yoda's call? And is Cal Kestis going to make an appearance? If you enjoy The Mandalorian, which you definitely do if you've made it this far, then I'd recommend going and watching one of these videos here. And you can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord to see those Jar Jar tweets. But they're not going to happen because Cal's going to be there. Thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.